It was 75 years ago today that Nazi Germany, arguably the most brutal regime in all recorded history, unconditionally surrendered, thus ending World War II in Europe, the greatest cataclysm in human history. In the popular imagination in the West, particularly in the United States, World War II was a conflict that we won. Most Americans would agree that the war was fought on the beaches of Normandy, in Iwo Jima, through the rubble of recaptured French towns, that it was a victory shaped by the leadership of General Dwight D. Eisenhower, of the moral fiber of British Prime Minister Winston Churchill, and the awesome power of an atomic bomb. In 2015, on the occasion of the 70th anniversary of VE Day, a survey by YouGov asked respondents from the United States, Britain, and continental Europe which country they thought was most responsible for defeating Germany in the Second World War. And here are the results. And so what this bar graph shows is that in France, 47% of respondents thought that the United States was most responsible. 15% thought that it was the Soviet Union. 14% thought it was Great Britain. In Germany, 37% thought that the United States contributed most to the defeat of Nazi Germany in World War II, larger than the percentage of any other country. Similarly, in Denmark, Sweden, and Finland, the United States was identified as having made the main contribution. Only in Norway and Britain was the United States not considered the primary reason for the defeat of Nazi Germany. In Norway, 32% thought that Great Britain was mostly responsible, and in Britain, somewhat predictably, 50% thought that it was the British. 3 years after this survey was taken, another poll in 2018 reflected similar results. And so in this poll, who did the most to defeat the Nazis? In Great Britain, 50% thought it was the British. In the United States, 47% thought it was the Americans who were primarily responsible for the defeat of Nazi Germany. In Germany, 34% thought it was the United States, and in France, 56% gave credit to Americans. But that narrative shifts dramatically when you go to Russia, where World War II is referred to as the Great Patriotic War, and it's remembered in a vastly different light. Now, there were no Russians sampled in this 2015 poll, but a 2009 study found that nearly 2/3 of Russians said it was the Soviet Union who was primarily responsible for the defeat of Nazi Germany. In fact, 2/3 said that the Soviet Union could have defeated Nazi Germany on its own, and 90% believed that the USSR played the decisive role in determining the outcome of the Second World War. Now, Russia began 4 years of intense combat with the Nazis following Hitler's invasion of the Soviet Union in June of 1941. And by far, the Soviets suffered the greatest losses of any of the Allies. If we look at this pie chart, you can see that Of all the military deaths in World War II, the Soviet Union sustained 65%. By one calculation, for every single American soldier killed fighting the Germans, 80 Soviet soldiers died at the same time. By some accounts, 60% of Soviet households lost a member of their nuclear family in fighting Nazi Germany. Thus, from the Russian perspective, it was the Red Army that played the overwhelmingly decisive role in defeating Hitler's Germany. But despite the horrendous Soviet casualty figures, some people believe that their contribution to the war effort was only achievable through massive Lend-Lease aid of vital war material from the United States and Britain. Others believe that the United States and Britain made the primary contribution by bombing German cities, thus destroying the Nazis' ability to wage war effectively. Others point out that Britain and the Soviet Union fought the Nazis longer than did the United States. America did not enter the war against Germany until December of 1941, following the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor. So on this 75th anniversary of VE Day, this lecture will address the question, which nation deserves the most credit for defeating Nazi Germany in World War II? So let's go back in time. In August of 1939, Nazi Germany signed a non-aggression pact with the Soviet Union. Germany was about to embark on the invasion of Poland, as well as the invasion of Western Europe. And Germany did not want to have a two-front war. During World War I, Germany had to fight a two-front war, and that ultimately led to the defeat of Germany. And so Hitler reasoned by signing a non-aggression pact with Joseph Stalin, the dictator of the Soviet Union, that would avoid the two-front war. But as you can see in this cartoon, as they walk arm in arm, they each have a revolver behind their back. And that is because neither Stalin nor Hitler trusted each other. In fact, Nazi ideology consistently targeted the Soviet Union as its chief enemy. As early as the 1920s, Hitler had identified the Soviet Union as the Bolshevist command center of an alleged Jewish world conspiracy. Hitler always equated Bolshevism with Judaism. In Mein Kampf, written in 1924, Hitler emphasized Lebensraum, living space. What that meant was that Germany wanted to expand eastward towards Russia to gain all of its natural resources, and towards the Ukraine, the great breadbasket of Europe. As I said, Hitler equated communism or Bolshevism with Judaism and declared that both were mortal enemies of the Third Reich and therefore had to be ruthlessly eliminated. A week after the Soviet-Nazi non-aggression pact, Germany invaded Poland in September of 1939, and World War II was underway.